Welcome,
Obligatory.
everybody, to Views from the Bridge, your second favorite podcast about your favorite team, the Philadelphia Union. Guys, we're back for season 7 of Views from the Bridge. I don't even know how to comprehend the fact that
No,
we've
it's
been
not.
recording this
No, it's
stupid
not.
podcast for 7 seasons.
No,
But
it isn't.
this is seasons. I can prove it to you. I got the files to prove it.
I don't need. No, I don't need you to do that. What?
Yep, it is season
Huh?
number 7 of Views from the Bridge. Um, I don't know. I don't want to start with the games yet because they're going to be fun to talk about. But I don't know. Chuck, Evan, how are your off seasons?
There's an off season.
How
Well, not
how
for
was your
you.
non union season? I don't know.
Yeah, no, because it's funny because it was a long time since the Union played soccer, but like when it comes to covering the whole league and going from November to oh wait, preseason starts in January now. Um, it's like every year MLS creeps up on you earlier and earlier,
Yeah.
and then like poof.
Yeah, Justin, to answer your question, I literally, with you guys being able to prove it, like forgot when the season started. So there's that. And then you could not have painted a better start for Frankie Westfield with the first team.
That's
We'll
interesting.
get to that.
We'll get to that, but man, it's a weird. The things that I've taken away, if we look at back from the off season to what's happening now, is it's almost a good thing, I guess. Jack McLinn's not here for everybody else, and then maybe Jim was the problem.
Yeah, we'll see.
I have some things to say.
Sure, we'll get there.
Well, yeah, well, no, you just you just open it on that, and then you're just like, oh yeah, now back to the like cadence of
No,
us
no, we
easing
gotta,
into
no,
this
we
podcast.
gotta, yeah, we gotta have a flow going.
I don't know. Yeah, no, I think I wanted to, I no for sure we want to talk about the games. That's for sure. What we want to talk about at some point in time. I think where I want to start though, and this is gonna be a hard question because I was thinking about this question today, and I know I'm kind of throwing this out on the spot for both of you,
Sure.
but I I'm wondering like if you could think like I don't know that we need to like digest the whole or dissect the whole off season. But if you think back kind of 2 weeks ago before the season started, what do you feel like was maybe the best off-season move, or what was the worst kind of off-season move that you felt like maybe 2 weeks ago,
Um,
before the first 2 games of the season?
you know, the best one was and like even just looking at tape with him coming in was Lukic because you needed a midfielder that does exactly what he does if you were going to let Leon Flock walk. And this team really hadn't replaced Jose Martinez. And like, and he's not the same player as Jose Martinez, but having a very similar impact after these first couple of games. And like, before it's really hard to judge players coming from these random European leagues. So the hope was that he was going to be this player. And then now you're just looking at like, oh, yeah, maybe he actually is. Um, the funny thing is what I would have said, and I mean, jury's still out on if this is the worst offseason move or not, but it's signing Damien, the the new striker.
Interesting.
It's just his numbers didn't really scream much of anything for him being the record signing. Like, and I mean, we'll see if he actually holds up on that, but hopefully he does.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, he's played all of 15 minutes and scored 1 goal, but it's
Vibes are good.
yes, I think your point though, it wasn't like you look at that signing and go, okay, great, we're in a great position now, we got a great team, like that's it wasn't a confidence building signing necessarily. So totally get what you're saying there.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off of Chuck first. Like in your preview that you did with David Goss, which we also, he was very kind to give us that audio to post on our feed. So if you want like here's how Chuck and like by extension Justin and I were feeling about the off season, like that was how we were feeling. And you had a really salient point where you said like it's sort of weird when, and I'm like paraphrasing but being more elaborate, but like you said it's weird when you break your club record for a signing and it's still not a sure bet, because you have teams that spend 15 million on a guy. There was the meme that went around where it was teams are spending as much money as the Union have in their entire history of transfers on a dude.
Yeah,
so like for us, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, we bought a striker for $3 million. Like he's gonna light the world on fire from our standards. But to everyone else, they're like, who the fuck? Like, who is the Uruguayan guy? And I mean, in so many ways, I could name 4 players off the top of my head, but it's good for him to get a goal right off the bat, so we don't have another like Jay Simpson on our hands.
Oh God.
Only old slobs remember Jay Simpson. The worst move of the offseason is just going to be Jack McGlynn, because I miss seeing him play good soccer for us.
Well, he's not playing good soccer for anyone right now.
That's fair. That's fair. I think he's weirdly moved out of a system that wouldn't have really. Which I'm going to say my best move of the offseason, and it's not a move, so I'm copping out. But finally getting organizational clarity on what you want to play and doing it has apparently already very clearly played dividends. And I don't want to be the overly optimistic, we're going to win the league, ha ha ha. But like, it's a style. You watch 5 minutes of a Union match this season, you know what it is, you know what it's going to do, and it's worked so far. As opposed to, and Chuck, you mentioned it in your preview, like it was Jim Curtin in the style of Red Bull, and like that wasn't it.
Yeah.
So it's nice to finally have cohesion, I suppose. And for as much as there's a cold, businessy, it's not that, everyone's in it together, we're all best friends thing. And I can be empathetic toward, like, we all knew Jim, like he was a great guy, the whole thing, didn't deserve kind of the okay bomb that he got. But you want to be kind of that prime Red Bull thing. And now you're doing that.
Yeah, I think that's a good segue, because even with Jack McGlynn being shipped off to MLS purgatory that is Houston, where I think he'll be fine because of the fact that they are, hopefully eventually going to let him do what he does well, because like he's not a 6. He should never be your deepest lying midfielder shielding your center backs, and for some odd reason that's what he's been doing for Houston. And like that's not going to work and not going to get the Union the sell-on fee that they are hoping that this move will end up netting them down the road. But for your sporting director to just be like, this player doesn't fit our system, so we ship them out the door, despite them being, a homegrown that's had extremely important moments in club history, and that being the similar treatment that Jim Curtin got also going out the door, is those are the things that color the entire offseason. Because if you look at the moves that were made, it's like, okay, we needed a striker, we needed a center back, we needed midfielders, we needed other attacking players, check, check, check. But it's just like Ernst Tanner has rubbed everyone up and down, in and out the organization the wrong way. And like that's fine if the Union win games. Like the thing with this entire season, it's Ernst Tanner getting all of the power that he wanted to build what he thinks his vision of the soccer team is. And like if that works, great. If it doesn't, then he should be out the door.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree with what a lot of you like what a lot of what you guys have said. I think my probably best move of the off season, and it's probably a little bit looking back on the first two games, was probably getting rid of Jack Elliott. And I hate to say that because Jack's a great dude and a great player, but um, maybe it was time. And I don't know. It's kind
I
of
don't
one
know
of
about
those
the
things.
great player bit.
He has been. He has been a solid player for the Union for a long time. Last year was not, and so I think you kind of have to figure out those times, and um, you can't keep every guy around to be a character locker room guy. Like you can have a Bedoya that you keep around, but you can't have four of those on your roster unless you're Miami. Then you can. Um,
Well, they do a little bit more.
yeah, yeah, no, that's true. So I think it's like I think that was probably for me the best move of the offseason. The worst move of the offseason, like I would agree with a lot of what you said, Chuck. I think it is the way that Curtin was ushered out the door. Not that I don't think it wasn't time for him necessarily to go or for the Union to have something different or whatever, but I mean this has been your coach for a long time, 10 years, and you should honor that in some way. And so hopefully it'll be one of those things that 5 years from now or something, there's something done and all of that kind of stuff, kind of in retrospect, looking back, sort of deal. Um, but I mean, you hope he gets the flowers he deserves at some point in time from the
Yeah,
club. You
and
know, he's getting it from the fans, but from the club.
it's my first ever year covering the Union without him on the sidelines. It's a little
It is
different.
weird. It is weird. It is weird. All right, so we're 2 games into the season. The Union have scored 8 goals and only let in 3. Uh, I don't know. What's your big takeaway so far? What's the big thing that you've noticed? What's the big thing you've thought? What's the key to the success?
Uh,
Amazing. Well, I was gonna let Chuck go, and then a cat walked over your keyboard, and I went, maybe I'll take it. So I'll take it. Oh, big takeaways. Yeah. So Well, okay. The biggest takeaway is it is so clearly early season in MLS for everybody because the amount of just unforced errors leading directly to goals has been absurd. And
so
I'm
I,
sure
I need
that
I need to interject for a second
please
because we've seen this before.
we
This
have
was St. Louis's entire inaugural season when you were just like, why are they passing
Yeah.
them the ball where they are passing them the ball? And then
Does
it turned
Bradley
into
Carnell
a goal.
know some kind of mind trick?
I mean,
Is that what this is?
I mean, clearly, at least for early season, yes. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
and that's kind of why I'm still like finding this pretty hard to judge because, like, I mean, we know from
Yes.
how last season ended, Ty Baribo can finish his chances and score some
Mhm.
goals. I mean, him
Mhm.
being on record pace, like if he scores 2 goals this weekend, no MLS player will ever have scored more goals than him in their first 3 games of the season. And like while MLS has its weird, like little arbitrary records of these weird time frames that only they decide that those time frames are, that doesn't make it not impressive for a striker to
Correct.
have 5 goals through 2 games.
Yeah.
And it's just like so weird when you're balancing that with, okay, clearly everything that's happening with these passes isn't like necessarily sustainable, but also the press is pretty damn good.
Yeah. Well, and that was Phil Grooms is one of the guys over at Fly River Footy who I've known since they were a fledgling team in the USL. But the Fly River guys all year when Cardell was at St. Louis, that second year when he ended up getting fired, were like, we just need a person that can finish chances. And now it's like, well, he's in a system where he has a bunch of kids that are going to run around, press like hell. And then if you turn the ball over up high, and like, we're not, to your point, Chuck, like, we're not going to get, multiple games this season, like, hopefully, from just like a quality of soccer. Orlando is passing us the ball. We have guys that can finish those chances. That's been a big takeaway. And then I think from like a more sustainable standpoint, and I said it off the top, like Westfield and the rest of the kids that have like been charged with take that step have like taken that step and then some. It's been kind of scary because I thought Frankie was going to do a really good job after watching him towards the back end of the Union 2 season, but I didn't think he was immediately going to come in, play fullback, and like no one's going to notice.
I mean, he probably didn't either, to be fair.
Fair.
Also, what do they do with the roster? Because he could only play in 4 more games before he needs an actual contract.
I'm kind of surprised he doesn't have one. But yeah,
I mean, I get you basically just like with an NBA 2-way contract, like you play out as many games as you possibly can on that. But because like we don't even have a true time frame on when Nathan Harriel will be back.
Yeah,
it's a hard thing to. I don't know. It's a hard thing to. I don't, my takeaway so far, and I think the press is a big part of this, is you've taken away the weaknesses of last year's team, and not that I think Jack Elliott would have made a ton. I don't think. I still think we'd be having a similar conversation if Jack Elliott was in the lineup, because I think what you've done is you've prevented center backs from having to defend. And it's like now they are truly kind of the last line of defense versus being pressured all the time, and I think last year it felt like teams could get on top of us and then we could never get out of our own end of the field, and it put a lot of effort in. And luckily Glesnes is like probably one of the better like last ditch defenders in the league, but like I think it's good when they don't have to do that much work. And then there's times because of the press where those guys playing center back can chase a guy out to midfield with the ball because they know somebody's going to drop in behind them and not worry about it. And so that leads me into my second takeaway is really, like you said, Chuck, I have been really pleased with our new midfield pairing and the way that Jean-Jacques and Lukic have played has been super positive. And I love watching both of them play right now, and the way they can interplay, and the way that when one of them goes forward, one of them drops back, they find the spaces on the field, and it doesn't leave any of the center backs without somewhere to go with the ball. Like,
and
once you're on the ball, you have somewhere to pass to.
And it lets Quinn Sullivan do literally whatever he wants, which is great.
And Gazdag, for that matter. I mean, Gazdag is able to kind of do whatever
he
wants too. So.
Right. That's the beautiful thing about the first two of the 4-2-2-2 is if the two guys that are shielding the defense do their job and play outlet and do defensive work, your two false nines or whatever you have them be can do pretty much whatever they want. Defensive responsibilities and things, honestly, but like they can really Quinn Sullivan, like that dude's made to win a ball high up somewhere and like look for a pass or take a shot, and he's given the freedom to do that now as DJJ and Lukic behind him, and they've both been again like I. It's weird that we aren't constantly talked about for how good our scouting must be, because I don't know where they found guys, but they did a pretty good job so far with them. With like limited fanfare as other teams wanting them.
Yeah, and you go back to like, I think it is weird because you wonder what happens in the offseason. Is Cincy as good as they were last year? Is Orlando also as good as they were last year? And, that's going to take a season to figure out. It's not like we can decide that in these 2 games. But I think to your point, I mean, the press has looked really good, and the team has looked really good. It looks like, it looks like to me that Kai's assisting touch is back, and he's putting balls in better spots, which it didn't take till June for him to get an assist like it did last year. And so, I go, okay, it seems like things are ticking the way that they need to. And that does give Westfield a lot of room to run when Wagner's getting into the box and high up the field and all that kind of stuff. They've got to, the other team has got to take that into account, which gives Westfield a lot of space on his side of the field too. So I really like the way we're playing so far.
Yeah. Also, not just in this league where 9 teams make the playoffs, nothing means more than early season points, because you can't take that away from a team. And coming into things, like I would have been pretty happy for the Union to finish 8th, because the beginning of the offseason, things looked quite bleak, and like this was not going to be a playoff team. And when you even saw teams like the Chicago Fire actually signing competent soccer players, apparently not defenders. Sorry, Jack. But like it looked like, oh, the Union would struggle to finish in the top 10 of the East, and like that doesn't seem like it'll be the case. So it's at least like a good baseline to start from, and just the depth of this team outside of like I'm still not completely sold on what the defensive depth is actually going to look like if push comes to shove. But at least at a high level, every other position's pretty set, and that is like really more that you can ask for, especially with them only being in 2 competitions this year, since MLS now tried to make Leagues Cup a prize instead of just something that every team took part in.
Yeah, I was going to say it too. I mean, I do think it's going to benefit the Union in a lot of ways to not play every competition and not be, not be playing soccer every other day of the year. It felt like at times last year, and so I feel like it's going to be. I feel like that is going to benefit them in a lot of ways. And so whether it's the Open Cup or MLS regular season play, like it is nice to have a week between games and all of that stuff. So I'm looking, I'm feeling pretty similar to you, Chuck. I am feeling good about the season. I probably want to wait a couple games to feel like I could be like, yes, they're not going to be in the,
No,
they're not going to miss the playoffs.
Like I said
But
before we
it's
started
trending well
recording.
early.
No, like I said before we started recording, this team is winning MLS Cup. Taking no further questions. Mic drop. That's the podcast. That is the only way to operate in Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's all or nothing, obviously.
Yeah. What else, guys? Anything else we're talking about? Anything else you want to talk about? Any other big takeaways from these games?
Macanya.
Kanya, yes.
How about McCann?
The person that we didn't expect to be the starting center back on day one, looking like they're the best center back on the roster.
I'm glad. I wrote up a couple like these could be lineups, and did not share them with anybody because I didn't want to embarrass myself. Among other things, Makania was not on there.
Any of them?
No, I only made two.
Yeah, because
I had a 4-2-3-1 and I had a 4-2-2-2. Because I roughly knew that was kind of what we were gonna get. And he wasn't there. So
yeah, I mean,
I'm good. That's fine.
Considering Nathan Harriel was center back 3, I can't blame you. I'm very happy that like now when Nathan Harriel comes back, he won't need to be center back 3 because you can't be right back 1 because while Westfield's been great, he's not going to start over Nathan Harriel. But you can't be right back 1, left back 2, and center back 3 all at the same time. He is just one guy.
Oh, the other thing that I did want to talk about, two things. One, if any of this video footage makes it out of this space, it's a Steve Ralston kit. Don't worry. If you don't know who that is,
there's your visual and audio.
If you don't know who that is, because I don't know the average age of the psychopaths that still listen to us, if you don't know who Steve Ralston is, look him up. The other thing, Frankie Westfield has a long throw. And I need us to become the Stoke City of MLS, where we have a Delap that just throws weird long throw-ins and no one knows what to do with them. And Bradley Cornell can work his weird give us the ball magic on long throws, and we score directly off of long throws, which I don't think you can do without it hitting something, but rules are meant to be broken.
Rolling it back to the Shannon Williams days.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Yeah, I mean, that's who, you know what, that's probably who taught him. Shannon was like, dude, here, let me show you something. And then he's like, and then everyone's going to say boom when you do it.
Speaking of visual and audio, I should announce my kitten, Alphonse, who's trying to literally take my headphones off of my head.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Chuck, there's a cat at my feet trying to take my phone cord away. So we're good. We're living great.
But yeah, this is Alphonse. He's 5 months old and a menace.
Yeah, that's about right.
That's what 5-month-old kittens are.
Yeah. Justin, what did you glean from the rest of the first two games?
Yeah, I mean, I shared some on Blue Sky or Twitter or something when I was watching the game, but I think Kai has impressed me so far, and I'm really glad with all the drama that has surrounded Kai Wagner. I am glad that we have somehow managed to hold on to him for the last however many years it's been, and especially this year because I feel like he's going to be able to make a big difference this year and all of that. I think too, kind of what you said, Quinn has impressed me a ton as well, and it's fun to watch him be able to do his thing of pressuring and then taking the ball and then turning it upfield and like figuring out where to go with it. And then I think the other thing is, Mikel Ure, it's interesting trying to figure out how to talk about him. The numbers aren't there. The numbers aren't there in the same way that Baribo's numbers are there. But I think to his credit, like this seems to be a system that fits him too,
Yeah.
and he's putting a lot of pressure on the ball. Him and Baribo are doing a ton of defensive work. There's a couple moments in the game against Cincy where, he's getting the ball back from the defensive midfielder. Him and Baribo are both doing that type of running, but I think like to watch Ure do it, I feel like it's a fun. He still needs to figure out his shot. It's like every time I feel like every time he shoots, it's like super. It's like figure out somewhere else to shoot the ball, But um, I like what he's doing on the field, and I like how he's contributing to his team because I think it has
Well,
allowed Baribo to do some of the work that he's doing.
yeah, it's weird because I mean he had the weird those my big takeaway from the Orlando game from a goalkeeper standpoint is that both those guys shouldn't be letting goals in at their near post like that. It's like weird, uncharacteristic lack of saves from both goalies. To be fair, but yeah, it's strange not really having seen any preseason, but we can talk about how bad MLS is at letting people see preseason all we want. Everyone looks like they just kind of know what they're doing and they're in their role and it makes sense and they're communicating in a way that like we're not really seeing with a lot of other teams around the league right now. And I don't know if that's like kind of a conscious coaching decision to be like, if you do nothing else, talk at each other. And just really emphasizing that, especially with a new system for some of these guys. Or if there's kind of a weird, like, enough of you have played in Europe or enough of you have, like, watched a lot of soccer that, like, here's your job now. You do this thing. You've seen this a bunch. Just go do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it feels like it's a more cohesive unit than it has been in a while.
That's the cool thing about a zonal press is that at its core, it is the same everywhere. Like, you get the ball, you move here, you win the ball, you pass it to a person who's in a better position to progress it forward. So the simplicity of the system does help a lot with what this team wants to do. And of course, it also helps that you have plenty of players left and right that can actually hit those passes.
Yeah. I think to your point of it, like I do feel like it's so cohesive, and it does help that a lot of these guys have played together for a long time. It's not like you have a whole new, you have a whole new roster. You have Quinn, who's been around for who knows how long, feels like forever. You have you have Wagner and Glesnes who've been around a long time. You have Blake, who's obviously been around a long time. So you have these guys who have been around a long time and played together, and then you add some good players who can play in the system that's being played, and you put them kind of in, And I think even last year, you watched DJJ, and you go, I don't know if that guy's a pure defensive midfielder. Well, when he's paired in a 4-2-2-2, like he can play defensive midfield, and it's one of those things that you can look at and you go, okay, we can play that system, and he can play that system, and yeah, he probably could have worked in the diamond situation on the right side of the diamond, but like, is that his ideal location? Was that Quinn's ideal location? No, and it just feels like getting both Quinn and Gazdag on the field in the more attacking roles. Um, Ura is made to pressure and to put pressure on center backs, and he can do that and do that well right now because he doesn't have a ton of defensive duties. All of that kind of stuff just contributes to the success of the team. I think to be nitpicky, my one nitpicky thing is like we have given up 3 goals in 2 games, and not saying you're still not gonna, not saying that's gonna be the downfall of the Union, but I think like when you have a pressing team, you are gonna have games where you score 4 goals, but can you figure out how to not give up, quite as many? But the performance against Cincy was encouraging, because you have to your point of transfer fees, you have a $15 million person and a $12 million person that they brought in the same offseason, and one of them score on a long goal where Blake was shielded until the ball got to the 6-yard line.
And it was what, like 3-0 at that point? Like that wasn't a Oh no, like momentum shift game. It was like, all right, just kind of. Well, I mean, how many years of the Union? Okay, in the team's history, if for every goal they would score, they would give one up immediately after. Um, so I'm glad we're not doing that. To your point, yeah, you're not going to score every. You're not going to put 4 past everybody all the time forever. I will say what I'm very fond of as a Andre Blake doesn't have a long goal kick in his body, uh, guy. It's really nice to see him not have to do that anymore because it never worked.
You don't like giving the ball back to the other team?
No, like I caught it halfway through. Like I was watching the games back on Monday just to really like be able to like not be distracted and watch them. And about halfway through the Orlando game, I'm like, oh my god, he's kicking it 4 yards short to anybody else that's also in our jersey. That's amazing. So that's been nice. Oh, and then the other thing, I used to hate us playing Orlando because it was just really chippy and like bad soccer, and now I hate us playing Orlando because whenever we wear our away strip and they wear the home strip, it's just ugly. So I need Orlando to go back to white or us to not wear powder blue against them. Thank you. Sorry. City blue? What are we calling it? Philly blue? Whatever it is.
MLS kit clashes, and honestly, even this kit, like, I'm still not.
It's fine. It's another lightning bolt.
But I don't want the lightning bolt to be
no. But
like,
Chuck, it's forever. Benjamin Franklin.
I don't care.
Lightning
bolt. Snake. I want the snake.
No, you don't get the snake. You have the snake once. Here, Chuck. I will counter. I will give you sublimated stars down the middle.
No, I mean, well, that unfortunately just given the circumstances everywhere, I don't feel very patriotic. So
fair. That's fair. That's fair. Well, they're not like America stars. They're like
they're not. But when
they're like the Union
Philly,
star. I don't know. Yeah. What if next year our home kit is just like a white shirt that we have all the players dye with tea bags so it looks like it's from the 1700s? Like some kind of busted elementary school.
The funny thing is, like, if done right, that could work.
No, don't back me up on this.
But like, also but it could end up. But no, I just mean it could also end up like the Red Bulls Stone kit that looks like they tried to do digitized camo, did a bad job, and then forgot to fix it. Justin, do you have any kit hot takes so far this season? The Riverhounds have really pretty kits. I like those. Charlie did a great job with those, but
I think well, okay, to that point, Charlie's doing a great job with everybody's kids. But I think the new kit for me is I think teams. My hot take, I guess, is I think teams need to have a kit that looks good on the soccer field, and then a kit that looks good in a schoolyard or a high school or on the
streetwear
in a fashion sense. And I think
do we have either of those?
Yes, I think we have both of those. I think we have a dark blue kit that looks great on the soccer field, and we have a lightning bolt cool fashion kit that works in the schoolyard. And I think that to me is like that's good because like to put it in my other team that I follow, like for Brighton, they have neither of them. So like I don't, this year they have neither of them. So
hey, when you have classic colors, you're kind of not allowed to do that.
I get it.
Right.
Come on, man.
No, it is one. Yeah, it's one of the funny differences with like historic teams versus MLS when it's like we've always done it this way, so we can't actually change it. And MLS is just like sometimes, why the fuck did you even think of doing that? Please stop.
Yes, why is this team wearing this color? Like it's not even their color.
That's what got me with the Galaxies. The Galaxy.
Yeah, what are those?
Because I mean it's a lovely jersey, but I see it and I think Orlando.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have.
Or like Cincy's away kit. I'm like, it's fine.
What?
There's a lot of
Probably-
shirts that just look like shirts with some accents this year, which is not what we're.
Also, welcome to the official "We're Back" moment, in which the back 10 minutes of this have been MLS kit talk.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, listen, we can't. There's not a whole lot to be negative about, Chuck. When we win 4-1 and 4-2 in the first 2 games of the season, when we were expecting abject failure and some kind of, I don't know, union lockout situation. About the soccer team, not about like any actual like workers unions related to.
We're there. Yes, I'm with you.
We already know that searching.
Thank you.
The Philadelphia Union, there's an equal chance that you will get a labor union story as you will get the soccer
and listen,
team.
I support IBEW 98 this year. I think they had a great preseason. I'm not talking about them though. I mean the soccer team.
We're moving on.
All right. Okay.
I don't want people to get mad at us.
You don't want to talk about your local electric workers?
No. I don't want people to get mad at us for our political stances 5 minutes into the season. Like, let's.
Oh, sure. I mean, they made it 40 minutes. I'm happy to tip my hand that I'm a fan of unions.
In July.
On and off the field. This is great. This is so good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Yeah,
all right, Justin, please bring us back to level.
Patriotism will just so you're.
Yeah, we did it. Mission accomplished. We made it 40 minutes. We had a little treat. We had a little union talk as a treat.
All right. Well, the Union are back at it. I think, is it this weekend? I don't even know now. I'm so distracted.
Well, it's not Tuesday in the Leagues Cup against
isn't this
Guadalajara or something.
This is a Sunday one, right?
I think so. It might be.
No, actually, no. Saturday. In like my.
Oh, it's the team whose shirt I'm wearing on Saturday.
Well, also like either my least favorite team to face or second least favorite team to face, because it's a toss-up between the New England Revolution and CF Montreal, for who I hate seeing on the schedule.
Oh, I mean, for me, it's either the New England Revolution when it's in Foxborough as the least favorite, or the New England Revolution when it's at Subaru Park as my second least favorite. So this is really...
Well, this is number one.
Damn it, I knew it. I knew it. I was like, this game is going to be in New England. I don't know. Union win like 5-2 and Caleb Porter gets sent off or something.
I can't believe Caleb Porter wasn't fired. So
he's washed. Yeah.
Given the way that these two teams are going, I don't actually think your prediction's far off. I'm going to say 3-1, just because I don't know if the Union are going to score 5 yet. But
and that's a Baribo hat trick, right?
I mean, considering again he needs 2 goals for a record, he's at least going to get a brace. The fun just fuck you moment would be Cobbin coming off the bench to get his first MLS goal.
It would be fun. Oh, a la Quinn Sullivan.
Exactly.
Yeah, a little bicycle kick.
I don't know. After the end of the Cincy game, I'm not particularly excited for Calvin Sullivan to be playing a lot of minutes. But
I don't want him to play a lot of minutes. If Calvin Sullivan plays a lot of minutes, this team is bad. That's
but something bad happened if he plays 1,000 minutes. We've talked about this. Does it happen? Maybe, but that's not a great sign. It's a fun. I thought Justin was going to say he's waiting for the other shoe to drop with the team and was going to be like, and we get stopped by New England away or something.
No. I think we win 2-1 this weekend.
Like how we just progressively took the score down.
I just don't think you get. It's hard because you get like all excited about the fact that they've scored 4 goals in 2 games, and it's like both games, and it's like they're not going to keep doing that though.
Well, remember this team did used to do that, and they went like a month and a half scoring like 3 or more.
Oh, yeah,
goals.
there was that May where it was,
and it was still these
we scored
like
goals.
Two of the three attackers that are here were there for that. Like that's
true.
The interesting thing with this team is like scoring goals was never the issue. Letting them in and winning the ball back was.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It's all good. Any last hot takes before we get out of here?
Columbus misses the playoffs.
No.
Columbus.
Oh, I like that. Oh, we're talking in general?
I like how I was just like, oh wait, I have a lot of hot takes in that
it can
case.
be anything. I don't think Evander scores more than 12 goals this year.
That's lukewarm, but okay.
No, come on. No, it's not. He's already got one.
He scored like 16 last year. Like that's not a huge drop off.
I don't. But I think they're like 20, and it's not going to happen. Pat Noonan gets fired. Is that hotter? Is that more what we're looking for?
That's exactly what we're looking for.
All right. Great. Pat Noonan gets fired, and he gets replaced by Berhalter, who also gets fired. And then Jim takes the Chicago job. There it is. I got it. We're back. Figured it out. MLS Cup, Chicago Fire, Philadelphia Union. It can't happen, but it's going to happen.
I actually have a Chicago Fire to win the MLS Cup ticket because it's plus 1,100. And
yeah, they just back up a truck to your house at that point?
I mean, essentially. Same way Hugo Cooper's...
Peter Wilt gives you an investment opportunity?
All right.
I don't know that I'm going to join this.
I think we've run this thing into the ground now.
I think we got it. I think we figured it out. Soccer's
all right, guys, we'll be back next week with more Union content. You can like and follow, subscribe at VFTB Pod, almost everywhere you can find us. Other than that, we'll see you next week. Guys, just wait till you hear the new intro and outro audio. It's fire this year, I think.
It's the South African national anthem.
It's not South African.
Also, okay. I'm happy that I'm not. I'm also happy that I'm not stuck on 99%, and everything immediately just said you're.
Hell yeah! Look at that. That was perfect.
Yeah.
Love that. Love to see it.
I'm hoping that the improved.
They haven't. I got.
That,
well, that sucks.
We did this, and we did this.
So when I was recording the preview with guys, like they use Riverside too.
Oh, weird.
And
I'm glad everyone